Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
Travelers of Reddit, what's a destination that looked amazing online but was completely disappointing in person? Giza, Egypt. Absolutely horrible. Every single person there is corrupt, every customs officer, tour guide, police, hotel clerk, etc. The pyramids are crowded with tourists and are extremely underwhelming. You can literally see a McDonald's just a mile away. I'm so glad we were only there for 2 days and breathed a sigh of relief once we left. Oh, and if you're a woman, it's 10x bad. You will be groped, hit on, propositioned, all the time. Whenever this question has been posted before, the first answer is always Giza, Egypt. I love how the first one that showed up for me was Sharm, Egypt. I will say I also hated Giza, Cairo, but Alexandria was surprisingly nice. Booked a trip to Giza last year for a week. Left after 2 days as everyone was just basically trying to steal my money and shouting at me if I didn't give them it. Also got attacked by a pack of stray starving dogs on the way to the pyramids. -110ths would never step foot in Egypt again. Same, on a holiday you always feel sad to get on the plane at the end. With Egypt I was so relieved and thought, wow, I survived. Very shady. I hired a driver that had driven a friend of mine and had a great experience. I was only in the Giza area for a very long layover, but he protected me, I'm a woman, from everyone, and even bought things on my behalf so I'd get a more local price. I'm thankful for him because I had always wanted to see the pyramids. That's what my daughter did and she loved Egypt. She said the driver was worth the money they paid him. He kept them safe and saved them money at all the tourist traps. It must be so shitty for him to have to deal with the fact that he needs to protect his clients from his own countrymen. Egypt, Sharm, to be exact. I've told this story several times on Reddit, but I think it bears repeating. When I was in the military we stopped in Cairo for refueling and resupply. We had quite a while to head out and look around. A group of us decided to take a van tour of the city. Right outside the airport on a busy highway we pass a guy who stopped his car on the side of the road and was squatting down taking a shit right there in front of everyone. Not even trying to hide it. Of course, being idiot 20-year-old dudes, we start yelling and clapping and he casually waves hi to us while we pass him. I got the impression taking a shit out in the open on the side of the highway while hundreds of cars pass is a routine thing in Cairo. Clearly he didn't wash his hands. I have nothing else to add. This is my Egypt story. I went to Sharm for scuba diving. Underwater it's one of the best places in the world. Everything is so colorful and vibrant. One of my best diving experiences, if not the best. But Sharm itself is a tourist trap in the middle of a desert. Everything has that cheap, we want to scam you, air about it. If I ever go back I will leave the hotel only for diving. Even the airport was enough to put me off ever returning again. I know exactly what you mean. I'm air crew and at one point was doing an Egypt trip every other week. Hurghada Airport, further down the Red Sea, is a much better experience. The resort is much better than Sharm too, but sadly it's still Egypt, so there's that. Hollywood Boulevard in Los Angeles, especially the Walk of Fame. It seems so glamorous in movies and photos, but up close it's crowded, gritty and full of pushy vendors and costumed characters. Interesting to see once, but definitely not like the postcard version. It's easily one of the worst things to do on vacation in LA. Smells like piss. Aruba, a nice little sunny island that is ruined, and I do mean ruined, by the ridiculous amount of people trying to hawk you a timeshare. When we checked into our hotel, the receptionist invited us to a timeshare presentation. Once we got to our bedroom our phone rang again. It was an invitation to a timeshare presentation. We went into town. There's people on street corners stopping you and trying to sell you a timeshare. Got back to our hotel room at about 9 p.m. Oh look, someone at the door trying to sell us a timeshare. Going to a local restaurant for lunch, and the waiter pitches us a timeshare. The thing I found really nasty and quite intimidating, to be honest, was that a lot of the people on street corners would try and force you into a waiting vehicle so you could be whisked off somewhere to spend several hours having a timeshare presentation directed at you. Oh yes, and when we returned home a week or two later we got an information pack in the post from the hotel trying to sell us a timeshare. It's a lovely place, but we found the constant pitching of timeshares completely ruined our experience. I think I see the problem. You were staying at a hotel rather than at your very own timeshare. Fortunately I can help you with this problem if you'll just listen to my 9-hour presentation. Weird. I feel cheated. No one offered Emmy a timeshare. Lol. Seriously, we were just in Aruba this spring and it was great. We did not stay in the high-rise district though, which is where I am guessing the op stayed. Even in the high-rise district there's quite a variety of options. If you get away from that 2-mile strip of high-rises, it's a great island. All the beaches are, by law, public. There are a ton of free parking areas at the waterfront, and it's a safe island. And clean too. We had a car and drove all over the island. There was no trash, graffiti or other blight. It seemed really laid back and visitor friendly. Would definitely go back. Yep, been to Aruba 6 times and I've never had anyone pitch me a timeshare. We even go to the bar at Playa Linda, which is a timeshare resort, several times each trip. Egypt in general, the only country I wanted to leave after spending one day there. People are trying to scam you all the time, super disrespectful with women. Don't go, the history of the place is amazing but everything else is just plain wrong, shitty destination for sure. You're absolutely right. I'm an Egyptian who grew up abroad and I get treated like a foreigner even though I speak Egyptian Arabic fluently with no accent. My advice, which is what I do, is I take a local for anyone who isn't from there. The scamming all of a sudden stops and it is a completely different experience. Sorry to hear about yours though. My advice, which is what I do, is I take a local for anyone who isn't from there. I don't understand what you're saying. Monaco is way too expensive for what it offers tourists. Heavily priced drinks and empty streets, feels more like a theme park than an actual country, city in the French Riviera. I remember a video of when Bernardo Silva was showing off his little apartment while playing for AS Monaco. We're talking an athlete getting paid millions and he essentially lived in a studio apartment. That's why I think virtually all the other players live in Nice and the surrounding area. The point of living in Monaco as a high-paid athlete, or other high-earning person, is to avoid income tax, and that means staying within the borders of Monaco. Nice is France. The world's highest-paid athletes are all crammed into tiny, ugly, high-rise apartment buildings because Monaco is teeny-tiny and that's all there is. Not if they want to avoid French taxes. Unpopular opinion, but I actually liked Monaco and I think it's perfect and enough for a day trip. Same, loved Monaco. I walked from one side of the country to the other in less than a day, just exploring and it was awesome. I did it as a day trip from Nice and loved it. The Oceanographic Museum is amazing. Walked around the city for views. Ate at a random pasta place that didn't look like anything special and the food was surprisingly delicious. Only disappointments were: 1, wanted to wander around the casino but you had to pay something like €30 just to get in, so had to be content with just seeing the lobby, and 2, beer cocktails were just as bad as they sounded. Kissing the Blarney Stone is wildly overhyped. Not only do you wait in long lines and dangle awkwardly over a castle ledge, but you also press your lips to a filthy, bacteria-covered slab that's been kissed by thousands of strangers every day. While I do agree that the stone is overrated, the castle and grounds are great. It is much more nicely kept than many of the ruralish castles that you can visit. They have a poison garden that includes such nefarious plants as marijuana, and some that are legitimately deadly. There are also several funny signs and interesting things to keep you entertained while you wind through the castle in the line up to the roof. Agreed. I almost skipped the castle entirely because everyone talks about the Blarney Stone being a waste of time. I ended up being absolutely blown away by the grounds. No one ever mentions how stunning it is there. Oh man, this hits my trifecta of phobias: crowds, heights, and germs. Grimace. The outside, very bright and loud. 0/10 would not recommend. There are so many people there. How do you even? Dubai. Some of it wasn't bad, but that was further away from the city. In the city people could be so horrible to workers and animals, the outskirts were depressing and dirty, and it just felt unglamorous, touristy. I've been more than once and it seems to get worse each time. Fart. Modern-day slavery didn't make the place awesome. I'm shocked. Edit, take my passport and tell me I have to work to get it back. I want the full local experience. Quote, every single second I spent in that city, I felt like a Bond villain. There isn't enough soap in the world to scrape off the feeling of grime and abuse. You thought Dubai looked amazing online. I've been there twice. The best parts of it basically feel like a giant shopping mall. Save yourself thousands of dollars and jet lag, just go to the mall. There's absolutely nothing appealing about Dubai to start with, though. A concrete and glass jungle built by slaves as a playground for super rich Arabs. Fuck that place. Zanzibar. It's beautiful, but horrendous and bitterly disappointing. The whole island has been ravaged by conglomerates making all-inclusive resorts and utterly destroying the fabric of the society by making everyone so painfully dependent on tourism and catering to this imagined idea of what Zanzibar is. What's your favorite dish? I'm not gonna cook it, but I'll order it from Zanzibar. And then I'm going to love you completely. Oktoberfest. More specifically Munich beer mugs. Now I'm not saying you won't have a good time, it's just if you want to go to a place like your state fairgrounds, if you will, dressed in €200 dirndls with a million other Americans singing Sweet Caroline with €30 chicken or schnitzel, getting shit-faced with €15 beers under a large tent with an Oompa band, and spending €20 and an hour-long wait to ride the Ferris wheel, go right ahead. However, you'll get a more authentic experience going to a small-town Volksfest where it's less crowded, you can meet local Germans, and spend half as much for a chicken, beer, and all the Ein Prosit musical notes Sweet Caroline, Country Roads, and that Robbie Williams song, Angels, they all love to sing when they're drunk. At half the price and less crowded. And way more fun. The last time I went to Oktoberfest in Munich we went on a Wednesday and spent some time walking around the fair, and then we had a table in a hall, so we could sit and eat and drink beer. That was fun, but just for a few hours. We went back on a Friday afternoon, and by 5 p.m. it was such a shit show that we fled the area. I've been a few times, and I can't ever imagine going back. Munich is great, Germany is fun, but the Oktoberfest scene is just too much for me. How stinky did it get at your table? Ditto, and I live and work here. As in United States, not worth the hype. Go to a local small-town Volksfest or even Frühlingsfest in the spring. Same food, same beer, same songs. Different weather. Less crowded. Easier on the wallet.